Good afternoon. It was a pretty good day. I thought the guys was very attentive, and we talked about paying attention to the details, and I felt like we had good execution today. Again, good to get back out there and dust it off a little bit, but we're definitely a long way away from where we need to be on Saturday. So still work in progress. Looking forward to getting back out there tomorrow, putting the pads on. And with that, I'll take your questions.
Steve, you got good news on CJ then today because he was out there full?
He was out there. He was moving around well. It looked good. No setbacks. So we'll see exactly how it goes day to day.
Could he have returned that game? Maybe if it was a playoff game, is that like a?
Mike, I can't. That's a question for him. I think when you have the opportunity to see him in the locker room, you need to ask him that. But I felt like, as the game was going on, whoever is out there, we got to find ways to make plays. That's the key thing.
You mentioned paying attention to details. What kind of details were you talking
Well,
on?
just, when you go back and look at the tape, the lack of execution, whether it was not, executing our blocks correctly, our run fits as we talked about. So those were the things that I saw today that I felt like we corrected and we're moving in the right direction.
How important for you guys in these last 3 games is that reestablish that dominance up front, particularly on the offense?
In regards to the last 3, we're just trying to create that dominance for this particular game right now, which is Detroit.
They have a pretty consistent, efficient offense. What are you seeing from them on tape?
Well, number one, I just give a lot of credit to Coach Campbell. He has those guys playing at a high level in all 3 phases. Offensively, those guys do a great job of running the football. When you look at their offensive line, they probably, when the ballot comes out, they're probably going to have at least 2, maybe 3 All-Pro players up front, which is very impressive, which is indicative of what you see in their run game and how they've been able to protect their running backs. Same thing here, by committee. They all do a great job, So when you look on the outside, the receivers, you have Warren Raymond, who plays also a return guy. He does an excellent job. Brown, 14, phenomenal stretching the field. So they do a great job offensively.
Level of concern with JC?
From what I saw today, I feel pretty good. But, it is day to day. So we'll see exactly, how it goes.
And you guys released Tay Hayes. Are y'all working out corners, or is there another move?
Scott and I communicated, and there's a possibility that we could bring somebody in, or we can elevate some guys up. So we're looking at both options.
Everybody good?
I was going to ask you too. When you came back here, I guess you left in 18 right before the ownership change happened. As you came back for the second stint, was there anything about the franchise or just the organization that you noticed that's different under Tucker?
I still think there's a great level of commitment to win, great level of commitment to making sure this organization can be the best it can be, So my love and passion for the Panthers will always be the same, just because me being from here and this is my home team. So regardless of ownership, I still have that passion and love. But Dave and Nicole has done everything, in my opinion, since I've been here in trying to push this organization in the right direction.
You activated Andre's window today. What's the outlook for him as he tries to get back from his knee injury with 3 weeks left?
Well, the outlook is hopefully that we can, get him back on the field as quickly as possible. We've gone through this process throughout the year. Today, just out there looking at him, we know what he can do just off past history. So any kind of spark in the kicking game for us, particularly in the return game, is going to be special. So hopefully we can be able to get him out there soon.
Steve, I'm wondering, after the game, Mike Tomlin said, paraphrasing, but there's nothing mystical about run defense. A lot of times it comes down to effort and getting off blocks. Do you agree with that sentiment?
Same thing I talked about after the game. A lot of credit to them, but when you evaluate the tape, it was a lot of self-inflicted, you know, not playing with balanced hands, playing too lateral, not getting vertical, not staying in our gaps, you know, all the little things that we preach and emphasize each and every day that has shown success previous. So going back to what we talked about before, the attention to details, those are the things that we got back to today.
Steve, I don't know how much you go back, how many games you go back with the Lions, watching them, but like they won 6 or 7. What are they doing well right now?
You know, the quarterback to me, Goff. I mean, he controls everything. You know, someone talked about, you know, his career, you know, coming back. If you want to say that, I totally agree, because I think he is doing a phenomenal job in orchestrating and running that offense, you know, protecting the football, which is always the main key to any success, putting the ball in the right spot. I mentioned all the, you know, the weapons they have, you know, on the offensive side of the ball, but most importantly, he's getting protected. So they're doing a tremendous job, and he's orchestrating everything.
Steve, any concern about the weather? We're talking about that.
No, that's one of the its. You know, we don't worry about the its. We don't let it get in the way. We went to Baltimore, and it was pretty cold up there, and I felt like, you know, we endured that and played a pretty good game and come away with a win. But you know, the weather's not an issue.
Is that one of the reasons you practice outside today?
Last I checked, the Bank of America doesn't have a dome, so we got to be outside. So that's the reason why we're out there today.
Steve, if Andre's active this week, will he do kickoffs and punts?
Say that one more time.
If Andre Roberts is active this week, will he do kickoffs and
We'll
punts?
see. It's a possibility, yes.
You were just mentioning some of the details that you guys were lacking on Sunday. What is it that allows that to kind of slip through the cracks on a day like that?
Yeah, well, I can't even really tell you, because there's so many different things, you know what I'm saying? So, guys not maliciously trying to do it, but just, you know, to get out of the gaps, trying to make plays, you know, trying to do things outside of the defense. It happens, you know, so it's going back to, again, you know, regrouping, refocusing, and getting back to work as we did today. And just understand, I've always talked about, a silly cliche, just be one of 11, just do your job.
Do you see some stuff like that this time of year when the games get bigger? You try to make more plays, you try to do something you shouldn't be doing?
Yeah, you know, at times you do, but, you know, the great ones this time of the year, playing good ball in December, still focused on the details. And it's not about really the schematics or the volume, all right? It's about fundamentals and technique. Those are the difference. That's what separates you, in my opinion.
Was there a point where you thought, like, Andre would not be back at all this season, and kind of what was the discussion like to start that window?
Well, we always hoped that he would return, you know what I'm saying? That's why we, you know, kept it open. And then it was just really, you know, his progression of trying to get back and seeing different doctors and those kind of things. So that's the reason why we did it. And also, you know, he is a Pro Bowl player at that position, so he brings a lot of value just being out there. So, you know, again, hopefully we can get him activated and get him going.
The Pro Bowl selections come out Wednesday. We don't get to talk to you before, I guess, on Wednesday. Patrick Peterson was a Pro Bowler when you were head coach. What's it like making that phone call? Let guys know.
Well, it's great, because, you know, what you've done, you know, you separated yourself, right, from your peers, and that's always a glorifying, you know, accomplishment. You know, we always talk about, you know, we're all professionals in quest in what we're doing. Professional coach, professional player. They don't say professional Pro Bowl. You know, it's pro, and it's a distinct difference from you and everybody else. So it's glorifying as a coach, but also for that individual to accomplish that.
I understand on the defensive side, you know, getting out of gaps and stuff like that. The offensive side, though, on the line, what little things did you see were going wrong?
Well, we always talk about, you know, violent hands, you know, coming off the ball, you know, getting to the second level, which we didn't do a great job of, you know. So those are things we got to go back and correct, you know. When you have done something before, all right, which we have, you know, to me now it's just going back and trying to recorrect that. And as I just mentioned before, it's about the details. So I'm not concerned about us not being able to get back to it. It's just really trying to focus in on it.
Steve, how would you assess the red zone defense from Sunday?
Wasn't good enough. You know, we talked about going into this game and really trying to make those guys kick field goals. The Lions, I believe, are in the top 5. I think they're third, if I'm correct, for his red zone offense. So got another challenge ahead.
Is that a place where you guys were looking at some stuff you did and need to make changes, or is this another just execution?
I think it's just execution. I like what we do down there. When we have multiple looks based off who we're playing, we can mix it up a little bit. I felt like our nemesis this past week was third down. We just couldn't find a way to come up with that play, on third down. And when you start talking about time of possession and controlling the drive, we didn't do a great job of getting off the field.
Thanks, Coach.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Coach.